Welcome to the Kent Street Heritage Virtual Reality Journey. In this VR and 360-degree adventure, you can walk down Kent Street and observe today's modern architectural buildings. Please read the marker's instruction here, it will help you to travel safely. When you are ready, please click or gaze on the play button to start your journey. Kent Street is one of the longest streets in Sydney. It was named in 1810 by Governor Macquarie, after the Duke of Kent, the younger brother of King George III. The street begins at Walsh Bay and ends at Darling Harbour. After 200 years, most of the buildings on Kent Street have undergone significant development and change. However, a small number of buildings have managed to maintain their original appearance. Along this journey, look out for the time portals, which will help you to peek into the past and see what the buildings looked like 120 years ago. Enjoy the journey, and make sure you look around. On the 29th of June 1831, a man named Richard Phillips obtained a liquor license for the Shipwright Arms on the northeast corner of Kent and Argyle streets. The next year, because of the support of the seafarers and the workers on Observatory Hill, he changed the name to the Sailor's Return. In 1838, Phillips sold to a plasterer, William Wells, who lived on the opposite corner, in a two-story colonial home he built in 1836 using sandstone blocks quarried from the area at the base of Observatory Hill. Wells continued to operate the pub opposite his home, firstly as the Sailor's Return, and in 1840 as the Quarryman's Arms. In 1841 he sold the Quarryman's Arms, and on the 1st of May 1841 he obtained a liquor license for his home, which he had been slowly converting to a hotel since March 1840. He called the hotel the Lord Nelson. The Wells family operated the pub for the next 30 years, and the property stayed in family ownership for a further 18. A photograph of the hotel taken in 1852, during the tenure of the Wells family, was used to complete a restoration of the building to its former grandeur in 1986. The brewery was then added, including the addition of the word brewery to the facade, and a significant upgrade to the accommodation was undertaken in the 1990s, giving us the pub as it is today. The first post office for Millers Point opened in 1878 in Argyle Street. The lease on this building was extended in 1887, however it was considered too small and not in a convenient location. In August 1887 the office was relocated to 83 George Street North. By 1891 considerable pressure from the Millers Point community saw plans for the erection of a post office on the corner of Kent and Argyle Street. The chosen site was occupied by a watch house for the police department, which was removed in June 1891, and a new residence built for Sub-Inspector Mitchell, officer in charge, No. 4 Division, on the same site. The timber structure, at far left at 134 Kent Street, was the workshop of John H. Dawson, scull and oar maker. Competitive rowing gained popularity from the 1860s onwards. Richard Green, Ned Trickett, and Henry Searle were some of the world-famous champion scullers who trained on Sydney Harbour and used sculls, a type of oar made by Dawson. The freestanding cottage with a veranda next door was occupied by T. L. Andrews, engineer. The three-level rendered brick conjoint building at far right, 19192 Kent Street, was offered for sale in August 1902. Prospective buyers were told that it was eminently suitable for a store because it had access from both Kent Street and Clarence Lane, on two different levels, and was close to the bustling wharves of Darling Harbour. The building was replaced by the Catholic Seamen's Institute in 1924. The boy in a sailor suit was possibly the photographer's son. The sandstone wall behind him has advertisements painted on it: Carson's Refrigerating Paint, Corfill & Co. Undertakers, and Trigermia. Above is the rear elevation of a row of terraces. This two-story brick building at 261 Kent Street, between Margaret and Erskine Streets, was a boarding house offering bedrooms for married or single men and lads. A group of children pose next to a sign painted on the wall advertising bedrooms for men. The rooms at this boarding house were furnished, and there was a shared bathroom and kitchen. The proprietor in 1901 was F. Barnes, but it was earlier run by P. Lawless. The building was one of many owned by Jane Day, widow of wealthy wharf owner Thomas Day. The building next door has painted sign for Eaton Grant & Co., wine growers. two-storied rendered sandstone terraces with corrugated iron roof, chimney, and air vent center. Next door is a workyard containing coopered barrels, behind a paling fence set on rough sandstone blocks. The wide footpath is sandstone flagged, and the gutter is neatly curbed in sandstone. To the left is a telegraph pole. The terraces stand adjacent a high-rise brick commercial building. Tom Virgo kept the federal dining rooms at the corner of King and Kent Streets. In 1902, a royal commission was held to investigate allegations by Virgo and his wife about their ill treatment by 7 policemen. In evidence, a neighbor claimed Virgo's establishment was visited by a very low class of people. Another testified that rooms were let to men and women at all hours of the night. This photograph was taken in circa 1901. There is a delivery cart outside the 2-story building occupied by Virgo. To the left is a large brick warehouse building for H. A. Carter and Company. Two-story rendered sandstone facade of Coulter Hanson office in process of demolition. A sign on top pyramid face reads waterproof and clothing manufacturers. A wooden paling barricade protects passers-by, and standing outside the building is a horse and cart laden with lumber. Adjacent is a small 2-story building adjoining the offices of Alfred Lawrence, which has an ornate rendered and stuccoed facade and a large double wooden door to the entrance bay. In the half-open window upstairs is an advertisement for the Australian Brewers Journal. On the doorway right is a list of agencies represented by Alfred Lawrence. two-storied boarding house of lined brick and weatherboard, with corrugated roof and awning, bearing the title boarding Gillam's establishment. The shadow of an electric light pole is visible.